Hello, I'm Chuck Richards, and I'd like to welcome Max Sherman, Republican candidate for House District 10.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here today.
Yes, tell us about your positions and your experience that would encourage a senior or a person with a disability to vote for you.
35 years teaching high school agriculture, the last 12 here in Tillamook County, which is a low-income district. We have a lot of poverty, a lot of seniors and individuals that are struggling. One of the things I did as a teacher was I wrote a number of grants and got our students involved in helping to solve hunger in our community. We worked closely with the food banks and made regular donations. My wife and I have a small produce business, and with COVID-19 creating the challenges that it has, this past year, we have decided that outside of a couple of longtime customers, we're actually donating all of our produce to our local food banks and to our food pantries. I've also pledged that when I'm elected, that my salary for a legislator, minus or after taxes, will be donated to the food pantries and the food banks within the group. So. Hunger among our elderly and among actually all populations is high priority with me.
Oregon Project Independence is a cost-effective program that keeps seniors and people with disability in their own homes, and yet every year proposed funding of the OPI is significantly cut. If elected, what would you do to protect funding on OPI?
Well, one of the challenges we have with our current legislators is that we have to look at wants versus needs. And unfortunately, there are many special interest groups that are involved with the process. For example, do we really need large tax credits for someone who wishes to buy a fancy electric car? We need to take a look at where those funds are needed, and we need to support those critical things such as OPI. It's much more cost effective. We need to keep seniors in their homes. We need to work with families to be able to help them with that. And it's going to save money for the state in the long run with fewer hospitalizations, less long-term care facilities, and those types of things. So again, one of my concerns is mental health and other health issues facing seniors in all populations.
How would you prioritize state funding, including funding that is matched with federal funds, such as Medicaid, for services to an increasing senior and people with disabled population?
Okay. Well, one of the things I appreciate with the CARES Act is the ability that gives states to have some control. And in Oregon, we're able to actually utilize up to 137% of the poverty rate to provide services. We need to look at, again, long-term care. We need to look at the funding streams for the services that are provided, and those, again, need to be protected. We don't need to subsidize a 22-year-old to get cheaper health insurance. We need those dollars to go towards seniors and disabled, and to help make those things more affordable for them and to provide with them more services.
During this time of increased risk of homelessness and food insecurities, what will you do on a state level so that seniors and people with disabilities no longer face the lack of accessibility, affording housing, and receiving appropriate nutrition?
Okay, well, the nutrition, I believe I've pretty much addressed already. It's a huge part of my campaign. Affordable housing, we have a real issue here on the coast with a lot of high-priced vacation homes and second homes, and a definite shortage in homes for elderly and people that have of lower income. We need to urge the legislators to work with the federal government, things like the Section 8 vouchers, to include things such as shared housing and the ability of seniors who have spent their lifetime building equity in a home and being able to stay in it and possibly bring somebody else in to help share costs. I strongly support a freeze on property tax for seniors. We also need to start thinking outside of the box and look at some things like where we have government-owned land, school districts that have large tracts, other land that is not necessarily being used, and utilize that land to put in possibly apartments. With COVID-19 and more people working at home, there's a potential of buildings that are not going to be fully utilized, and looking at apartments within those, and also providing other services with that. I believe we need to take a look at a model that Lane County has, where they're doing some work there with putting seniors into apartments. They have health care and services available to them.
What are your plans for improving health of vulnerable seniors and people with disabilities, including people of color who traditionally suffer from more health disparities due to pre-existing conditions?
Okay, one of the things that I believe is extremely important that is provided by the Affordable Health Care Act is dealing with pre-existing conditions. And we don't know what's going to happen with the next cycle of elections and how well that's going to hold up. But I believe the state of Oregon needs to make a commitment to protecting pre-existing conditions. Those are extremely important for our seniors and those with disabilities who run the risk of losing their insurance or not being able to get insurance that's affordable because of those issues. We also need to take a look at, like here in District 10, rural health care. We have a lot of differences between what's available. We have a couple of cities that have some very, very nice hospital complex and access to top medical care, and other communities that don't. I think the legislators need to look at ways we can help balance that. VA individuals in particular have to travel to Portland to get their health care. I think we need to take a look at things like small VA clinics set up on the coast. It's going to save money. Other things such as incentives through the teaching universities for medical students to have part of their tuition reimbursed if they help serve rural areas. We just need to take a look at, and COVID-19 has also really brought out the need for looking at the cultural differences and how those groups have been unfairly affected.
Thank you, Max Sherman, Republican candidate for House District 10.
Thank you very much. It was a very enjoyable time to share my views, and again, thank you for the opportunity.
You're most welcome.